Hi, folks, and welcome to a very special episode of the Legends of Sport podcast, commemorating the 10th anniversary of Kobe Bryant's final game on April 13th, 2016. For this episode, I turn the host duties over to the renowned host of so many events across the worldwide spectrum of sports, my good friend, Jason Zone Fisher. As you may know, I documented that entire day with Kobe, starting early in the morning at his office in Newport Beach, leading to his last game in the Lakers uniform and all the special post-game moments. It wasn't any ordinary game, for sure. He went out in real Hollywood style, dropping 60 points, then dropping the mic with Mamba Out to a thunderous ovation from the crowd. Jason and I discussed the many memories and photos from that day and historic night. It was a pleasure to sit with him for this conversation. So hard to believe it has been 10 years, and incredible to realize that I shot Kobe's first photo in a Lakers uniform as a wide-eyed rookie in 1996 to his last photo as he walked off the court for good 20 years later. Big thanks to Jason for his friendship and always knowing the right questions to ask. So much fun chatting with him on this episode. I hope you enjoy this conversation, and as always, folks, I'll see you on the backside.
Welcome, everybody, to Legends of Sport World Headquarters here in Pasadena. I'm Jason Zone Fisher, and I'm honored to be taking over in the host chair today for the one and only Andy Bernstein. We're going to put you on the hot seat because we're talking about one of the best days in NBA history, in my mind. I was at this game. I can't believe it's been 10 years. April 13th, 2016, Kobe Bryant's last game ever in the NBA, and it was a game that anyone who watched, witnessed, you knew where you were for this game. Mm-hmm. It was an iconic experience for a somewhat meaningless regular season game that the atmosphere in that building felt like the NBA Finals Game 7 championship level, the excitement that was there. Mm-hmm. And Andy, you were with Kobe Bryant not only that entire day, but his entire career. So I'm honored that you have me on the show to ask some questions and have some story time, get to really dive into what went into that day and all these amazing photographs that you were able to capture.
Well, Jason, I can't thank you enough for coming and doing this. I couldn't think of anybody better to discuss Kobe's last game with than you. It was such a joy to be with him the entire day. I mean, I kind of proposed the idea to his team and to the folks in NBA Photos that, you know, we all had that date circled, April 13th. We knew they weren't going to make the playoffs. We knew it was going to be his last game ever in a Laker uniform. It happened to be at home, which was good too. Yeah. And everyone signed off on it, that including Kobe himself, that he wanted that day documented and he wanted me to do it. And it was an honor. It was a thrill. It was a joy. There was so many emotions during that. Yeah. But as a photographer, it was an incredible assignment. And I'd spent 20 years with him, like you said. I mean, I literally took his first picture as a Laker. Wow. Media Day 1996. Yeah. And his last picture in a Laker uniform, walking off the court on April 13, 2016. So, you know, it was two bookends and probably a million pictures in between.
Definitely a million pictures in between, and so many of them are worth millions of words. Iconic images that we can all see in our mind's eye. Right. I want to get into the whole day, but even in the lead up to it, Kobe was on this retirement tour as he was going around the country, people paying their respects, honoring him, the fans. It was building with anticipation up to this last game. How far in advance did you start prepping and planning and preparing for what you were about to do on April 13th, 2016?
Well, as you remember, he announced his retirement in November, shortly after the season started, the 2015-16 season. I had asked to take off All-Star, which was scheduled for Toronto in February of 2016. Yeah. It would have been my first All-Star game that I didn't shoot for the NBA in, I think, 35 straight at that point.
Would have been,
and
you said.
Yeah, it would have been. And my wife and my kids and I had plans, and we weren't going to give up those plans. And, lo and behold, the Mamba decides to retire in Deer basketball in November. And my boss of the NBA and I felt as well that I really should be there and be sort of embedded with him for the weekend, which, was a big ask, but he was great about it. Vanessa was great about it, his team, everyone else. So I literally spent that whole weekend with him, and that prepared me for April 13th because, like you said, I was on the farewell tour. I went, I think, pretty much from All-Star on, wherever he was going to play his last game on the road, I was at that game.
Oh, wow.
So that was huge. And to witness the love for him in places that he was really hated as a player,
Right.
It was just phenomenal. And so we get to April 13th, and my day started really early in the morning.
Yeah.
I got up at 4 a.m. I drove my car down to Staples Center, which was Staples Center then, and left my car in the press parking where I normally park. And I saw all this signage going up all over the arena, everywhere that I could see was a thank you, Kobe. We'll miss you, all that stuff. Big murals of my photos and stuff going up. And I documented some of that, then got in an Uber and took the Uber down to Newport, where I thought I'd be early. There's a Starbucks next door. I got a Starbucks. I go to his office. He's already there. His car is there. Somebody let me in. I go up and he's literally having a meeting at like 8:10 in the morning or something.
Wow, right.
It was ridiculous. I mean, the guy is like any normal day. He's going to do his business.
Yeah.
So I hung out. I took some photos of that. And then all of a sudden he was like, let's go. Wow. Time to go. And I'm like, okay. And went and, we got in the car, ended up flying up to downtown LA, and then everything just took off from there.
Wow. What was his mood like that day? I mean, you've got some of these images of him in his office, as you said, and I love the shot where you can see Steve Jobs and the portrait of Walt Disney and J.K. Rowling and all these people behind him.
Those are his muses. He called them his muses.
Yeah.
He said he had to have those photos up behind him or in his line of sight because they were such an inspiration to him.
Wow. Yeah. And for someone who we all look to Kobe for that inspiration. He inspired so many. Well, what was his mood like that day? Well, did it really feel business as usual, or was there a different air about him?
I remember him being very light and typical him. All business one minute, joking around the next minute. Did not see any difference in him at all. Literally until we were in the limo coming around the corner to Staples Center. And I was in the back seat, and he's in the front seat. And as we make the turn on Figueroa, he saw what's going on. Yeah. I mean, he saw everything laid out, the thousands of fans who are out in LA Live, all the signage. And I went to take a photo from the back seat. And the only time in my 20 years with him, he asked me not to take a photo, and politely, he just said, "Hey, man, not right now. I got to take all this in."
Wow.
And he was taken back. Then we went down the loading dock. Yeah. And of course, all the media was there, like sort of a welcoming committee, and coming up. As you know, that loading dock is a little bit of an incline. And then you're like in media central there with everybody who's waiting for him with cameras. And I was trying to document everything at the same time. I think I got a pretty good picture of that. And then went in the locker room and again, business as usual. Yeah. I mean, he did his stretching. He was on the trainer's table getting taped, very jovial. People are coming in and out, ushers and people from the arena, all kinds of people that he had interacted with for so long. Of course, Gary Vitti, my dear friend and longtime head athletic trainer for the Lakers. Yeah. I think Gary was feeling, like this is big tonight. And they had some real great moments, and we were all joking around a little bit. And Byron Scott came in, coach at the time. Of course, Byron was not only his coach then, but he was Kobe was his rookie, you know,
That's
when
right,
Byron
in
was on the
96.
Lakers.
Right.
And then Byron went on to play against him as a player and then coach against him in the finals.
For New Jersey, right?
Yeah, for New Jersey.
Yeah.
So it was such a incredible full circle situation.
Was. Yeah.
And then Byron had the team meeting and they all huddle up and come out to the court.
Well, tell me about that team meeting, because this is the last game of the regular season, and it's not that important of a regular season game. You know, the Lakers are not going to be in the postseason. Everyone knows this is Kobe's last game.
Mm-hmm.
Do you recall people saying, tonight's about, you know, number 24. We're going to give him the ball, let him do his thing. What was the mood like in the locker room preparing for a game like this when the game itself is really a backseat to Kobe? That's the reason we're there.
Well, I think Kobe didn't really want it to be about him, but of course everybody in the room knew it was about him, and everybody in the arena knew it was about him. Byron has said many times, I think he said it on my podcast, that he just wanted to get him to game 82. That was his job all season.
Sure.
Team wasn't very good, as you remember. There wasn't a lot of things to be positive about that season, but keeping Kobe healthy and getting him to game 82 was like mission accomplished. Right. So I think they all felt it as a group, and there was love in there. I mean, all these young guys who wanted to be him, and they're playing with him, and they're there for his last hurrah. I mean, those guys will be talking about that the rest of their lives.
Absolutely.
I played with Kobe on his last game. I might have been the last guy on the bench, but I was wearing a Laker uniform.
Yeah. Actually, earlier this season I interviewed Larry Nance Jr.
Yes,
and he was on that
guys.
team, and now he's with the Cleveland Cavaliers, and he still can't believe that not only was he there for that game, but that he was on the court playing. And there's so many young guys who they grew up idolizing Kobe Bryant. Now they look back fondly, still idolizing Kobe. And what this game meant to them, too, is something that they'll carry with them forever.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Larry and I have talked about that on the podcast. And, I just a little sidebar, but I shot Larry's dad when he won the first dunk contest in 1984.
That's
so there's a lot of full circle things going on.
Yeah.
But it was wonderful. And then of course, the team comes out for the last time, and the thunderous ovation that he got. That the ovation just continued. I mean, even during the intros for the other team. Oh yeah. The electricity in that building. You were there.
I was there, and it was an incredible experience. I got tickets in the lower bowl. I was up in the corner near where the tunnel is, and it really felt electric, like the same energy of a big NBA Finals game before tip-off. You could just feel this buzz in the air, and all eyes in the arena were focused on one person, on Kobe Bryant.
Yeah, it was
and
beautiful.
You never really experienced anything like that before, because even a big game, you're there for the atmosphere, the energy, the team, all the storylines. There was one storyline to follow, and it didn't disappoint. It really was a storybook. I was worried Kobe was going to have a really bad game.
Well, he started off pretty bad. Pretty badly.
I thought
he was 0
gonna,
for 5 or whatever.
Yeah, and I was like, oh man, what if he finishes with 10 points, right? Did you sense any anxiety, fear, worries that Kobe's not going to have a great game?
Yeah, it was a little bit reminiscent of Game 7 of the 2010 Finals, where Lakers came back down 3-2. They won Game 6 at home. Game 7, and he came out cold in Game 7. In fact, the entire game he didn't really shoot well, but he decided to be a distributor and passer, and of course, they won the championship. Ron Artest hits that ridiculous shot. The rest is history. Right. But I had sort of the same feeling, and once he hit that first shot, you could tell. I mean, he never lingered on I just missed 5 in a row or whatever. Right. It's I'm just going to make the next one.
Yeah.
And then it just took off from there, man. I mean, he was hitting shots, going to the hoop, and it wasn't like Utah was playing like Swiss cheese defense.
Yeah, no, they were playing.
They were playing. Yeah. Gordon Hayward was up on him. Mm-hmm. They were, it was like the Raptors game where he scored 81. Yeah. They didn't just give up.
Right. Right. Yeah.
But it's amazing as that game progressed and he started to get in a real groove, and but then you could tell he just couldn't get any height on his jumper.
Yeah.
And he talked about that after that. His legs felt like cement.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So I got a photo of his final field goal, which, was on the other side of the court because they started on my end in the first half.
Yep.
And then the 60th, I'm back to 81.
Yeah, right.
His 60th point was actually a free throw.
Yeah.
Right on the other end.
Yeah.
Which is so interesting because, you just think about famous free throws in Kobe's history.
Mm-hmm.
You got to go back to the two free throws that he shot in 2013 when he blew his Achilles out.
Yep.
And then that's his last point ever,
Wow.
as a free throw. So,
Yeah.
And then, when he came out of the game, I saw fans crying. I saw people courtside crying and so excited to just high-five him.
It was surreal, Andy.
It was surreal.
As he was getting more and more on a roll and going on, and it goes from 30 to 40 to 50, and then every bucket after, just pure elation and celebration. The whole arena erupted. Like, can you believe this is happening? He is delivering even more than we expected of him yet again.
Yeah, look, we're only a stone's throw from Hollywood at Staples Center, but I don't think anyone in Hollywood could have written that story.
Yeah.
He's going to go out, first of all, miss his first 5 and then go out dropping 60 and then, doing his post-game speech and then dropping the mic, Mamba Out.
So during the game itself, you've photographed his entire career and literally millions of photos and thousands of NBA games. Was it business as usual for you once the ball was tipped up in the air, or were you solely focused on Kobe the entire game, as opposed to when you're normally documenting a game, you're watching the flow of everything that's happening out there?
Yeah, there were a couple of hiccups in that scenario. One was that it was a triple feed television. So when that happens, TV gets the prime spots under the basket, and, and the photo well thing.
Sure.
And so I had to get pushed all the way out to the final spot in the corner.
Oh, wow.
Not an ideal place.
Yeah.
Because you don't get a lot of great action coming towards you. It's kind of all like lateral stuff, but you get blocked a lot.
Yeah.
Like the ref stands right there, other players and stuff.
Sure.
I had to kind of work around that situation, which was a little tricky and challenging. But I had a nice clean shot at the bench, and when he came out, which on high-fiving and stuff. It was pretty much business as usual, though I was watching him the entire time, whether he was on the court or off the court.
Right.
Or on the bench. But then when it got down to like the last few minutes and he's up there in points and the crowd is urging him on for every single time he gets the ball, or some people to pass him the ball, it was crazy. And I knew that I had to get a little bit lucky, but I also had to do my job in the way that I always did, and just be there, ready to shoot, be prepared.
Yeah.
But I knew, Jason, the picture that I had to get was the picture of him walking off the court for the last time.
Right.
Because that would be the end cap. That would be the bookend. I shot his first picture in Laker uniform. This is the last one. Yeah. Walking off, waving to the crowd. And the story behind that is, and, people were seeing that photo as we're talking. He starts walking off the court. Yeah. And there's a security guard, really nice guy. I've known him for years. Name is Brian. He's kind of a bigger guy.
Okay.
What's up, Brian is doing his job. You know, he's protecting the Mamba, but he's also like blocking me. And I am yelling at him the entire time, like, Brian, get the, starting to use some Brooklyn language. And he wasn't listening to me. And literally at the last possible second, it was like the Red Sea parted. And Brian took like one bigger step, and I was able to bang off like 2 frames, just 2. And he waved to the crowd. It couldn't have laid out better. And, the 24 on the wall and spotlight and the crowd and the confetti and the whole thing. Yeah. So thank you, Brian, for giving me a little bit of a heart attack on the way out.
Right, okay.
Taking away whatever hair I had at the time. And I made Brian because you could see him in the actual full frame.
Cool.
he takes up a lot of the frame.
Yeah, sure.
So I knew I had to get that picture.
Yeah.
We also had 2 other photographers shooting from different angles. I had put a remote camera in the VOM in the walkway coming out.
Yeah.
So that could push a remote button and get that, because I couldn't get everything. I was behind him, but I couldn't then run and get in front of him because, as you know, there's just so many people can fit in that little VOM.
Right.
So he got that, and they went in the locker room, and it was beautiful, man. It was great. The guys greeted him with a shower of water. Yeah, I think there was a little champagne in there. He might have drank a little bit. Byron made a beautiful speech, and it was an incredible end. But the night wasn't over. It wasn't even close to being over at that point.
Yeah, sure. Well, before we get to the end of the night and everything that happened, I want to go back to the game itself as it was building and building, and he was just catching fire, and everyone's feeding him the ball. All eyes are on him. Do you allow yourself to be a fan in those moments at all? Because you're following Kobe, you know him as a person. Yeah. It's a better story for you as well, journalistically, and the photographs you're going to get. And it's hard not to feel what we all felt in the building. What is going on through your mind as you're there with your camera pointed at him? Can you feel it too?
Well, you can feel it, but you can't really, you can't be a fan in that time. Because first of all, they're not paying me to be a fan. If they were, I'd probably be home on my couch, or I'd be in the stands with you, watching the game, right?
No offense.
No, but you know what I'm saying. I would be enjoying it, but this is my job,
for sure.
And if I'm watching the game, or if I'm cheering, or I'm just getting sucked into the emotion, then I'm not really doing my job. I mean, I can think about it a little bit during a timeout, or at halftime, or on the drive home, or whatever, but or watching whatever highlights are on the news later. But in the moment, I had to be in the moment, because I always say if you see it through the viewfinder, you missed it, right? So first of all, I had to be in the viewfinder all the time, because I didn't want to miss anything. Sure. And be ready to shoot whatever happened.
Yeah. Wow. You took so many incredible photographs from that night. Is there one shot that you're most proud of from that entire day?
Well, it's definitely the one of him walking off for the last time, 100%. We talked about that. No one expected him to. I didn't expect him to come out and speak to the crowd afterwards, which he did. That's when he did the famous, Mamba Out.
Was that a planned thing? Was that impromptu?
It might have been. Nobody told me.
You didn't know.
I didn't know that. Jeannie Buss had a beautiful reception for Kobe and Vanessa after the game, where she presented rings to them. Wow. Kobe 20 rings, because 20 years with the Lakers. Yeah. And that was beautiful. I didn't know that either. I was just going along with the flow. Okay. But I have to say, probably next to the photo of him walking off the court was at the post-game press conference, which was packed. Yeah. And you've been in those press conferences at the finals or whatever, All-Star. There's a lot of people. This is a regular season game. Let's be frank. Yeah. Which probably had as much media as at finals or an All-Star. Sure. People from all over the world were there. Yeah. And it's the only time in my, by that point, almost 40 years, I guess, at that point, that I saw the media get up and give a standing ovation to whoever was up on the podium. Right. I mean, he finished the press conference and everybody got up in unison, and people were crying, and we've all covered him. Yeah. Almost all of our careers.
He started as a teenager, just a kid.
And he was touched. He fist bumped himself on the chest, and it was beautiful. So that's probably photo number 2 for the night. Okay. That will really stand out.
Well, you were with him more than anyone that entire day, honestly, if you think about it. Did you ever see him get emotional throughout the day?
I didn't see him get emotional at all, other than joy. Yeah. He was genuinely happy that's the way he went out, on his own volition. Again, let's remember, this is a guy who blew out his Achilles in his 16th season. Sure. Anybody any normal person would have retired. He had already won 5 championships.
Yeah.
God knows how much money he made, all the MVPs, accolades, gold medals, whatever. But he would not let an injury define how he went out of the game.
Yep.
It's going to be on his own volition. I think this was very affirming to him that, you know what, I decided when I'm going out, and this is the way I'm going out. I mean, no, he especially probably didn't think that he dropped 60 that night.
Right.
That was a storybook ending to the entire story. But I didn't see any. There was obviously no negativity, but he just was happy. And I remember he and Vanessa hugged. First time she saw him after the game, and the reception he got from the people from top to bottom at the arena, the other team, the referees, it was insane. It was beautiful.
Well, and there were so many former teammates that were there, so many reunions, people who came to celebrate Kobe, from stars and celebrities to Shaquille O'Neal, obviously. Any insight into kind of the dynamic? So much has been said about the relationship that evolved so many times between a Shaq and a Kobe. What were those interactions like? Because you've got some great photos, but also you got to see some of the behind-the-scenes moments that we didn't between guys like that.
Yeah, one of the first people to greet him sitting courtside was Shaq as he came off the court. Magic was there, Rick Fox, Lamar Odom. I mean, you name it, Derek Fisher, they were all there.
Yeah.
But it was beautiful for me to see the moment between Shaq and Kobe. And a lot was said, and some of it was overblown, some of it might have been true, I don't know. But these guys were brothers in arms, man. They won 3 titles together. They couldn't have been 2 different guys, but I think they knew, and especially at that moment, that they truly were brothers. And the bear hug that Shaq gave, it was beautiful. Magic too, Magic called Kobe the greatest Laker ever.
Right.
It's coming from Magic Johnson in front of Jerry West and Kareem and everybody else. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. When you think back on this day, and there's so many moments, and it's incredible that you were literally with him from early in the morning all the way through the very end of the night. What's the one image in your head that stands out from that day? And it might not even be an actual photograph. It might just be kind of like in your memory, your mind's eye.
Well, I have to say, and it's very self-serving, but there were only 3 times I can remember in 20 years with him that I actually asked for a picture with him.
Yeah.
One time was in his rookie year. It was the first championship, as I remember. We did the setup, and I asked to get a photo with him with the trophy.
Yeah.
The second time we were doing I think it was way back when he was with Adidas. We were doing an Adidas shoot, and I got some production shot. That's not my way. I don't like to do that.
Yep.
And the last time was after his last game, and I'd spent 18 hours with this guy.
Right.
And it was probably 2:00 in the morning at that point, and he was, I walked with him for the last time, down the ramp to the loading dock to where his car was.
Yep.
And he was just about to get in the car, and he was saying goodbye to a couple of people. I said, "Hey, man, I never do this, but I got to have a picture of you from this day of us together." Oh, sure, man. So I gave my camera to the security guy who bagged this photo.
All right. We got to give him some photo credit on that, okay?
Yeah, and I love it because to me it was a real completion of an incredible time together, work time together,
Sure.
Even though we became friends and we did our book together after retirement and all that. But, that 20-year period was his work period as a Laker and mine as well.
Yeah.
And, I was just grateful for that. He got in the car, and that was it. That was, the last time we'd see him in uniform.
Wow. I mean, as you reflected on that day and Kobe's career, but how it was intertwined so many ways with your career and the success that you had, both of you are Hall of Famers because you're the best at what you do, is one of the best at what he does and did. How did it make you feel? Because I know that you're locked in and, it's another day and you're doing the job, but This was a day and a game and a moment all about reflection. And you must have been feeling that too, because so much of your success was intertwined with what Kobe was able to achieve.
Yeah, I have to say, Jason, that the biggest emotion I felt was gratitude.
Yeah.
That I had worked really hard to get to the position where I was. Started with Showtime, obviously. And I was just really grateful that that all the pieces of the puzzle for my career had come together. And he was a huge part of that, obviously, probably the biggest part in one giant chunk.
Yeah.
And I'll always be grateful to Kobe for his friendship, for allowing me into his inner circle, allowing me to document his journey. Because, he could have had a lot of people do that.
Sure.
And forever be grateful to him for just being who he was.
Yeah.
I got so much out of that relationship. That will stay with me forever.
What's something that you learned from Kobe Bryant, whether directly or indirectly, that still affects the way you live your life today?
Well, I met him. He was a teenager, completely 100% obsessed with the game of basketball, to the point where the obsession kind of took him over. He was kind of a loner. He was known as not really being the greatest teammate ever. He was just so obsessed. And when he became a husband and a father, I saw that transformation. And when things happened in his life that he had to regroup and start all over again and build himself back up, he did it. And I think that's one of the things that everyone around the world loves about him, is that he was actually a human being, in like a Superman outfit, wearing a Laker uniform when it was 8 or 24.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons I think he took on the persona of a superhero, the Black Mamba, because he was deadly. He was an assassin on the court.
Right.
But he understood that there's other stuff besides basketball. Yeah. And I think Vanessa really helped him realize that, and the girls helped him realize that, and that helped me a lot because I was crazy obsessed. He and I bonded because we were both so obsessed with our individual craft. And we talked about that when we did our book, but I think he understood that will be life after basketball for him, which he had worked very hard to get to that position, and also that he got so much joy from other things besides basketball. Sure. Most notably his family. Yeah, and that's why we're seeing so many murals go up all over the world, because so many people related to him. They couldn't. No one could possibly relate to him as an athlete because he was one of a kind. But as a person, as a human being, as a role model. Yeah. And, it was wonderful to document those murals in the book that Vanessa did, Mamba and Mambacita Forever. Right. And that's what he left me with, for sure.
He left the world with that. And, I mean, one of, obviously, such a tragedy that he's no longer with us and taken from us so soon. It's incredible what he was able to accomplish in his time here, more than filled many lifetimes worth of accomplishments, both on and off the basketball court. But one of the greatest tragedies is that I feel this next act, this next phase, was only just beginning. Yeah. And this pure genius and storytelling and what he was already on the road to accomplish was taken from all of us.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And the promise of what Gigi could have done in her life and in her career, if she had become a professional basketball player or not, but just as a young woman, those of us who are parents, I mean, it's incomprehensible, really. Yeah. And there's things in life you just can't explain. Yeah, you cannot explain why, there's no explanation. Yeah. And we all carry that grief and that love, but also the energy that he gave to all of us to really do the best you can. And if you think that's the best you can do better. Right. Yeah. Because he was always about the relentless pursuit of greatness. Yeah. And not stopping at whatever you think your potential or somebody tells you your potential is, in whatever walk of life it is. Yeah. That's the core of the Mamba mentality. Yeah. It's just keep working, getting better, staying as obsessed as you are, overcoming obstacles, and just pushing forward and making those around you better.
Yeah.
So I felt he did that every single day. I certainly felt that he influenced me wanting to be better at my job.
Yeah.
Because I saw how he never stopped
You
trying to
had
be great
you
at
had
his
to
job.
bring it the way he's
Yeah,
preparing.
exactly.
You need to do the same.
Sure.
Yeah. If you could pick up the phone and
Yeah.
speak with him one more time, what would you want to say? What would you want to ask?
Oh man, that's a tough question.
Yeah.
First of all, I'd ask him what the girls are up to. He loved being a girl dad,
Yeah.
and then I'd probably pick his brain about what I'm doing here at Legends of Sport. At the very beginning of Legends of Sport, I talked to him about it, and he was a great sort of sounding board about how to kind of get this thing off the ground, who I should bring into my life as mentors,
Sure.
which he did all the time.
Yeah.
Let's not forget, this is the first and only professional athlete to win an Oscar because he reached out to John Williams, the greatest in his field, composer, to partner with him and Glenn Keane to develop this incredible short film.
Right.
So I would ask him, hey, what's the next step here, man? I've been building this thing. I'm a little bit of an impasse, or I need some help. And he would be, I'm sure, very forthcoming.
Yeah. Well, he's someone who you could turn to for advice in business. He was a visionary. He was so accomplished on the court, but really, I think what we all miss and still draw inspiration from is that ability to the relentless pursuit of greatness, like you said, just to keep pushing and keep striving to be better every single day.
That's what we're all trying to do, Jay.
That's
you
right.
do it every time you go out.
Well, I try.
And I try to, and,
Yeah.
and I think that people relate to it.
Yeah.
And it's just a wonderful lesson to teach your kids, and even for myself at my advanced age.
Yeah.
I never want to be complacent. I always want to have a challenge every single day.
Of course.
So that's what it's about.
Well, I feel so grateful to have been able to witness so many incredible moments through Kobe's career, but especially his final game, that April 13th, 2016.
Yeah.
And for you to be there embedded with him for his entire 20-year career, and on that last day from start to finish, and the photographs that you captured, the moments that you're able to share with us here today, but also with the world through those photos. Thank you for that as well. I mean, it's you documented an important part of not just basketball history, but just really life history being there with Kobe.
Well, thank you, my friend. And, it's through basketball, you and I became friends. And
Basketball
we're great
brings
friends.
people together.
So
That's
I
right.
can't thank you enough
you.
for doing this today. It's kind of
Yeah.
weird for me to be on the other side.
Right.
This is the second time we've done this on my podcast. So
Yeah, I'm trying to get a full-time job here at Legends of Sport. What is this? I'm the rotating
keep
fill-in
coming
host.
back.
All right, I'm
Let's
coming back.
Keep coming up with anniversaries that we could talk about.
There's a lot of anniversaries, and 2016 we were talking about was an incredible year in basketball.
That's right.
Kobe's last All-Star game, I'm rocking that shirt right
Yeah.
here. His final season, his final game, which we're touched on. The Golden State Warriors, 73 wins, which happened on that same
night,
Hard
yes.
for that to be the B storyline
It was.
of the night, which
It
it was.
was.
A team's going to make the all-time record for wins in a season, and yet we don't talk about that or remember that quite the way that we do what Kobe was able to accomplish.
Isn't that amazing that that became the big story of the night?
Yeah.
Kobe's last game. But listen, man, thanks so much for coming by.
Oh, I'm
You're the
honored.
best, and you and I have a lot more to do together.
Looking forward to
But this
it.
was such a thrill going down memory lane about this incredible day in NBA history, sports history, my personal history, all the fans out there who were either there in the building, watched it on TV, but now they kind of know a little bit of the backstory. So thanks for helping me share that.
Well, I'm honored. It was great reliving this. I can't believe it was 10 years ago.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Time is flying. We're getting old, Andy. What's happening, man? Well, I can't wait. Let's do it again at the 20-year anniversary.
Hey, you got it.
All
It's
right?
a date.
Just to keep our memories
There you
fresh,
go,
too.
buddy.
Well, thanks. Thanks for having me. And now I'm going to toss it back to Andy, who's going to wrap up this episode beautifully. Here we go.
Well, it was so great to chat with Jason on this special episode of the Legends of Sport podcast. Kind of weird to be in the other seat, but he did a great job, as he always does, because he's the best at what he does, and it's always a lot of fun when we're together. Hard to believe it's been 10 years since Kobe's last game on April 13th, 2016. Many of you may have been there or seen it on TV or just heard about it. That day and my 20 years documenting Kobe's career will be with me forever. What incredible memories of an incredible athlete, person, and friend. Thanks to our editors Sean Gosser and Addison Shao. And thanks everyone for joining us for this special episode and every episode of the podcast. We are thankful to all our loyal followers. Please tell all your friends to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Legends of Sport, and our Instagram at Legends of Sport, and my photography can be found on Instagram at ADB Photo Inc. Please check out the discount link in our social media to our friends at Mugsy. We absolutely love Mugsy's clothes. And the discount link to our good friends at You Should, the best way you should protect your skin for work, play, and everyday life. Thanks again, folks. We'll be back next week with another great episode of the Legends of Sport podcast.